Yeah, good morning, everyone. So we start. I received about some 40 plus questions from you all. So I made a PowerPoint of discussions of this questions what I am receiving, and of course what I did was I put up all your questions in the PPT. Some of the questions I should say. So it's not possible. I hope you understand that it's not possible to discuss all the questions at a time. So that's why I want to put it like a phase-wise manner, phase one, phase two, phase three, something like that, with all the questions what I have received. So I categorize the questions, and so the this what I see mostly is that some of the questions are based upon a concept called relative velocity. So the heading itself, that's why I put the relative velocity and motion in a straight line. That's what the heading is. The relative velocity questions are you have to learn the relative velocity. That is for sure. That is you have to learn. But more than that, what I see is that another chapter questions. What I see is Newton's laws of motion. That anyway, that also are included. Some of the things and work energy power questions are also included, but there is some mistakes within the questions, so that also I will highlight what are the mistakes. That is not your fault, I am telling. Please understand that the mistakes are given within the books itself, so that faults I had to uh, manage and then I'll give you. So we'll have a go now. The thing is that this is a chapter. So here we go. This is the first one. What I see is the simplest questions I am taking first initially. So here question answer both are there. See, slope of velocity time graph. Always you have to remember this one. Always remember slope of the velocity time graph is acceleration. At any instant time gives instantaneous acceleration. This one you have to remember. Anyway, I will share this PPT with you all and then you can take it. I will send you to I will send this to madam and then madam will give you this one. Okay. And the next one is the area under the acceleration time graph. If you see that acceleration into time, right? Units wise, you get velocity. Okay. What is that velocity? Actually, it is about change in velocity. Please understand, it is change in velocity is what you get, because acceleration is delta v by delta t. Okay. So acceleration into delta t will give me change in velocity delta v. Hope you understand this concept, everyone. Is that okay? Clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, fine. The next one is there is incorrect statement in the VT graph. They asked incorrect statement is the parabola. VT graph is a parabola. That is the option you have to look in. Other questions are all correct. Other things are all correct because they asked for the uniform acceleration case. XT graph is a parabola and VT graph is a straight line. Okay. So VT graph is a parabola is the wrong answer. So VT graph will be a straight line. Why it is so? I hope you understand that x is equal to, you know that half, we assume the initial velocity is 0. So half at square we can write. X is equal to half at square. Half at square, x is proportional to t square, right? X is proportional to t square is like a parabola. That is correct. That option is correct. And VT graph is a straight line. That option is also correct. So the next one is this. What I find is the option D, that VT graph is a parabola for uniform acceleration. That is a wrong. Okay. Uniform acceleration, it will be a straight line. Okay. So that's how you can look into the answers. So I don't remember which question it was. So I picked up some of the questions and then I made this into PPT. Now let's move on to the next one. So here we go. This kind of questions are very, very common, which will be turning up in the examination. The motion of the particle is described by x is equal to x naught e into 1 minus e to the power of minus kt, x naught greater than 0, k naught k greater than 0. What is the velocity? With what velocity the particle start? The right option is x naught times k. Okay, right option is x naught times k, that you can mark. Okay, we will do how we go about this one. So here we go. I will do this here. So on the whiteboard. So it's given that x is equal to x naught into 1 minus e to the power of minus kt. So what you got to do is at time at the start at t is equal to 0, at t is equal to 0, what was the velocity? That's what you have to find. Now you have to simply differentiate this dx by dt. X naught is a constant, please understand, x naught is a constant, and then you have to do the derivative of d by dt of 1 minus e to the power of minus kt. This is what you have to do, the derivative. Now x naught into derivative of 1, that is 0, and derivative of e to the power of minus kt, that is what you have to do. That becomes that becomes you get like minus k into e to the power of minus kt. Derivative formulas you need to look in order to solve these things. Okay, so you get minus of minus k into e to the power of minus kt. Okay, now you get this like dx by dt. You get it like x naught into minus of minus is plus x naught into k e to the power of minus kt. This is what you get. Now this is the velocity. This is the function of velocity function. This is what the velocity function is, what you got. Okay, and now what you have to do is substitute at t equal to 0 is what the velocity at t is equal to 0 is what you have to find. When you substitute t is equal to 0 in this, so you get x naught into k into e to the power of minus 0. E power 0 is 1, so you get x naught into k. That's the answer. I hope clear with this, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Sir,
Now,
in some questions that acceleration does the particle start as means to simply differentiate and substitute a is equals to 0, v is equals to 0 like that, sir.
depending upon the question, next question we'll see. Next question is a little bit different. We'll see
Okay.
that. We'll see that. I understand your concern. Uh, understand your concern. So I think I opened twice this one. Okay. See, the motion of a body is given by the equation dv by dt is equal to 6 minus 3v, where v is the speed in meters per second and t time in seconds. The body is at rest. This is the most important thing. So here it says that the body is at rest at t is equal to 0. That's most important statement. Body is at rest at equal to 0. That means initial velocity is 0. The speed varies with time as. That's all they have here. So here what you have to do is, given dv by dt is equal to 6 minus 3v. So we will do this on the board. So they have given the equation dv by dt is equal to 6 minus 3v. They have given this. And now what else they have given is at t is equal to 0, velocity is also 0, v is 0. Okay, that is one part. What's the next part is that, and then at t is equal to some time, okay, t naught, you can say that the velocity is equal to v. So you got to see, you got to, here dv by dt, that what they have given is the acceleration. They want you to find velocity. Okay, this is the acceleration function. You have to find the velocity. That means you got to integrate on either side. So what we do is dv is equal to dv by 6 minus 3v. All the velocity terms will send to one side, and then you have dt on the other side. So you can put it like this. And now you integrate from 0 to v. That means after a time of t, and then this is integral 0 to t. So initially the velocity was 0. That's why 0 here, and then it raises to velocity v. So this is how we have to integrate. The integration of this one is negative 1 by 3 log mod 6 minus 3v. This is what you get. Negative 1 by 3 log mod 6 minus 3v. And then you have to log to the base e, of course. 0 to v, I had to put 0 to v, that is equal to integral 0 to t dt is nothing but t. You got. Now you have simply this, when you substitute v, what you get is 6 minus 3v. 6 minus 3v is what you get. Of course, we'll put ln mod 6 minus 3v, that is equal to minus 3t is what you get. Minus 1, my negative 1 by 3 I have sent to this side, so minus 3t is what you get. So the next one is you take 6 minus 3v, you write from the base, from the definition of logarithm, 6 minus 3v becomes e to the power of minus 3t. This conversion transformations you have to understand. So the next one is simple. So what you have to do is, did I miss anything? I hope not. I have not missed anything. Okay, I'll do 1 by 3 ln 1 by 3. Okay, fine, cut only. So here we go. So I get 3v, something like this. I can do whether I have this minus 3t e to the power of minus 3t, that is 6 minus 3v. Oh, I missed this one. Minus, okay, minus ln 6. This I forgot. Why? Because when I substitute 0, this happens to be, I get negative ln 6, that I forgot here. Sorry for that. Negative ln 6. So 6 minus 3v by 6 I will get. So that's what I forgot this. So when I substitute this here, v, the first limit, 6 minus 3v I will get, minus ln 6 I will get. I forgot that. So coupling the terms, you get ln of 6 minus 3v divided by 6 is what you get. So that is equal to minus 3t. This is what you get. So 6 minus 3v by 6 is equal to e power minus 3t. So you get 6 minus 3v is equal to 6 e to the power of minus 3t. Now you get 3v is equal to 6 minus 6 into e to the power of minus 3t. You can take 6 as common from both. 6 into 1 minus e to the power of minus 3t is equal to, you get 3v. So you get v happens to be 6 by 3 into 1 minus e to the power of minus 3t. So 6 by 3 is 2. So you get v is equal to 2 into 1 minus e to the power of minus 3t. This is how you have to do. This is the velocity as a function of time. After integrating, you had to learn a little bit of integration here. So this is what normally the integration, what we do is 6 minus 3v will give a substitution as p minus 3 dv is equal to dp. This is the substitutions what we do. If you know, that's okay, but the basic integral formula, okay, please note it. Once you note, I will let you know. In this kind of integrations, what you have to do. A general formula a plus bx type, dx by a plus bx. How to do that? Once noted, please let me know, ma.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see that this one formula I want to give here is that if you find this kind, dx by a plus bx is 1 by b ln mod a plus bx. So this is what you have to know. This integral you have to know. Of course, you will not be asked Okay, plus c actually it will come. That's called integration constant. Don't worry too much about that. If you apply the limits, what you get is this. At least you had to know 1 by b, the coefficient of x. 1 by coefficient of x, that is b here, 1 by b ln mod a plus bx. This much you have to remember. Here the value of b is -3, so I got -1 by 3. Hope you are clear. And the other part what we have used is ln a plus bx. We got it as some bt, like this we got. And now when I remove the logarithm a plus bx, this is the base e, this will take this power. So e to the power of bt. Like this you will get, and then you have to find what is the value of x out of it. Hope you are clear with what we have done, right?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay, that is the ideas what you need in order to solve these problems. Okay, fine. And now we go to the next one. I jump to something. Okay, so the option here what we got is uh, b is equal to 2 into 1 minus e power minus 3t. This is what you get. Fine. So the option B is the right answer. So we'll go ahead. Okay. Next one. Okay. The position for this trouble. Okay. I can find. Just a minute. Just a minute. Where did I go? Okay. The position x of a particle varies with time as x is equal to at square minus bt cube. They are given like this. The acceleration at time t of the particle will be equal to 0. So depending upon the situation, you have to see the x is given like this. X means displacement. The acceleration at time t of the particle will be 0, where t is equal to. That means at some certain point of time, the acceleration is 0. That means instantaneous acceleration is what they are talking about. And now how to deal such questions is, these are all things will come in one single go. So it's like what you had to do is x is equal to at square minus bt cube is what you have. And now they said acceleration is 0. Acceleration is double derivative of the displacement, right? So first differentiate once. So dx by dt, that when you differentiate, you get 2at minus 3bt square is what you get. And now when you take the double derivative, that is d square x by dt square. So that is nothing but acceleration. At that particular time, it is 0, they said. So the acceleration part will write capital A. Already A is used here, no? So we'll write capital A here. So here that is equal to 2a when you differentiate minus 6bt. I hope you all know how to do the derivative. So when you make it to 0, so you have to find what is t. So you get 2a is equal to 6bt, right? T is equal to, you got a by 3b, right? That's the answer. At this time, the acceleration is 0. Acceleration is 0 at this time. That's what the answer is. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we'll move on to the next one. So the position x of a particle is represented by time along x-axis given by x is equal to 90 square minus t cube, where x is in meters and t is in seconds. Okay, fine. What will be the position of the particle when it achieves the maximum speed? This is very tricky question. When it achieves maximum speed along the position x direction. Okay, along the position x direction. I don't understand that sentence. Okay, leave it. But this is the one, achieves maximum speed is the thing what we have to understand. What is this maximum speed? Maximum speed means, I'll explain that. That the function I had to read once again. 90 square minus t cube. Okay. So we'll write that x is equal to 90 square minus t cube. Let's understand what is maximum speed. Maximum speed means Vmax refers to the object has attained its maximum velocity. That means like you have a car. The car's maximum speed it can go is 120 kmph. Suppose you write this. What does it mean? Is there any possibility that it can increase more than this? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Amma, I said please understand
Yes.
one more sentence. One more time. Please understand what I'm asking. Maximum speed. If I say that car can go the maximum speed of 120 kmph. I fix the speed of the car. That is the maximum speed. So once I fix the maximum speed of the car like 120 kmph, beyond this it cannot go. This is the rating of the car. Okay. Now I ask you one question. Is there any way I can make it go more than this?
No.
No, right? That is the maximum speed. Suppose it is 60 kmph. It is going, car is going 60 kmph. It can go up to maximum speed of 120 kmph. So what you will do? 60 kmph it is going on the road. You have to take it to 120 kmph. What you will do?
Increase the speed.
How do you increase the speed?
Acceleration.
Yeah, you got the point. I can press the accelerator and make it to raise to 120 kmph, right?
Yes, sir.
That is possible. Now I am at 120 kmph. If I press the accelerator, will it work?
No, sir.
No. Good. That's the point I want. Now, when the object reaches the maximum speed, the acceleration becomes zero. Further, there won't be any acceleration. Please understand this. Note this point.
Yes.
Note this point. This is the most important point. Most important point. When the object reaches the maximum speed, the acceleration becomes zero. Clear, right? And now what do I have to do? Acceleration is zero means take the double derivative. So I had to do dx by dt. Dx by dt is 18t minus 3t square is what I get. And now the double derivative is d square x by dt square. That's a double derivative. That is the acceleration. So it becomes 18 minus 60. The acceleration goes to 0. So you get t is equal to 3 seconds. At t equal to 3 seconds, it attains the maximum velocity. Clear, right? Hope you got the idea. This is a tricky question. That's why you have to understand this. When the speed has attained to its maximum value, further you cannot accelerate that particular vehicle. You cannot accelerate the vehicle further. So that is the idea what you need to have in mind. I hope I am clear with this. Okay, clear. Fine. Let's move ahead. Now we have the next one. Go. Now this one. This is about the relative velocity. So prior to that, I have to give you, prior to this question, I will give you some ideas about relative speed. So one of people say that this is one of the toughest concepts. Yeah, initially even I felt the same. So it's relative speed. This is what you have to understand. Relative speed. What is relative speed? Only one formula is what you have to remember. One formula. VAB bar. This is This is said as velocity of A relative to B. Relative to B. This one formula you have to understand. That's it. Understand, not remember. Understand. Remembering is very easy. Nothing begin that. B bar AB is velocity of A with respect to ground minus velocity of B with respect to ground. Please understand. Ground. G refers to ground. Clear? This is all you have to remember. Velocity of A with respect to ground plus minus velocity of B with respect to ground. Okay, ma. First noted this.
Sir.
What is the ground velocity? 0. Okay, na. Suppose what does this relative velocity will tell you? Noted, na. Suppose when two objects are moving in opposite direction, let us say this is VA and this is VB. Both moving opposite direction, they will sum up. This you all know. This is what happens when they are in opposite direction. With respect to what? This VA plus VB will come is VAB. Velocity of A with respect to B. If I say VBA, I have to take opposite of this, negative of VA bar plus VB bar. This strictly you have to follow with the sign conventions. So all these problems are solved in the vector mode itself. Okay, VB bar if I take, you just see that how do we get VAB bar? See this. So this is positive direction. So VA bar will write, and now minus of VB that is going in the negative direction. So minus of VB bar. Hope you understand. Okay, right? So this becomes VA plus VB. Got it, right? This one you have to understand. When they are going in the same direction like this, VA bar and VB bar, when they are going in the same direction, VAB bar is like VA minus VB. But actually what I have to write with respect to ground. Please understand, these are all the things with respect to ground. Ground is not moving. Under that condition, these velocities are calculated with respect to ground. Right? Clear? The velocities are calculated with respect to ground. So that's the ideas here. That's the idea what you have to understand. Clear? No? Now
Yes,
let's move
sir.
on to the question. What is the question? We'll see. So based on this, the questions are made. This is straight from NCERT, I think. A police van is moving on the highway with a speed of 30 kmph. Okay, let's put up the information on the board here. So here we go. This is a police van. Okay. It's going like this. It is moving at 30 kmph. Kilometers per hour they have given. And now it is chasing some thief's car, I think. Something like that. Okay. Fires a bullet on the thief's car speeding away in the same direction with the speed of 192 kmph. And now here the information what they have given is 30 kmph is what? The velocity of the police van with respect to ground. Okay. Velocity of police van with respect to ground, that is 30 kmph. Please understand, this is what it is given. And now the thief's car, so we'll put a T on this, that is thief's car. And thief's car is moving at the velocity of thief's car is with respect to ground only they have given. That is with respect to ground, how much they have given, 192. You have read it correctly.
Yes, sir.
That's
192 kmph.
192. Okay, right. So that's about 192 kmph, right? And now the next part is that this fellow, this police officer, has fired a bullet onto this car. And now, with what velocity this bullet will hit the car is what we have to answer right now. Now, this by intuition itself we can solve. Now, what is the velocity of the bullet with respect to
150.
ground? So that is happens to be, there is some velocity of bullet they have given.
150 meter per second, sir.
So I went ahead. Okay, that is 150 meters. Muzzle speed of the bullet. Muzzle speed of the bullet means that bullet will emerge from the pistol. Okay, that's what is called muzzle speed of the bullet. The muzzle speed of the bullet means the emerging velocity of the bullet. Okay, almost it maintains the same velocity, 150 meters second inverse, up to a long distance. Okay, what speed does the bullet hits the car? Okay, and now what they have given is that the other one, what they have given is muzzle speed of the bullet is like it is with respect to ground only. So 150 meters second inverse. This is the confusing part. Now you have to see everything is in kmph and then this is meter second inverse. You have to convert into kmph. Please convert into kmph. So I can convert this by doing like 18 by 5. Okay. Okay, right. So that happens to be 540 kmph. Okay, 18 by 5 when I multiply, that's I'll convert into kmph. So the bullet speed I got as 540. Now the thing what happens is this velocity of the police van will add up to the bullet velocity, right? Because this is by intuition you can understand, because the police officer, he is also moving and this bullet is being carried. Initially the bullet is having 30 kmph velocity, right? Even though it is whether it is fired or not. Do you get this concept? Whether the bullet
Yes,
is
sir.
fired or not, the bullet initially it is having 30 kmph velocity. And now after firing, the bullet velocity and the van velocity will add up. So the bullet velocity will become, the bullet
570.
velocity will become 540 plus 30. That happens to be 570 kmph. Now the bullet velocity is like with respect to ground only. Once again, this is with respect to ground. 570 kmph. But now you see the thief's car is moving with respect to ground at 192 kmph. Now you see this one and this one both are in the same direction. Got it right? Bullet and the car, they are moving in the same direction. So what did they ask? What is the velocity of the bullet with respect to the thief's car? That's what, with what velocity it will hit the car? It will hit relative to the thief's car. So the velocity of the bullet with respect to ground minus velocity of the thief's car with respect to ground. This is what we have to solve. Velocity of the bullet is 540 kmph minus thief's car is 192. So this is whatever you get, that's the answer. So 540 minus 192, which works out to be how much, Amma? 192. So 10 minus 2, 8. So 13. I have 13 minus 9, that is 4. So 4 minus 1, that is 3. 348. So 348, I had to convert 348, 5 by 348 is what I get, kmph. And then I got to convert into meter second inverse if they ask. So 348 into 5 by 18, I can do this conversion. So here, so 18 months 18, so I get about so it's 16, 168. 168 is what I get. Am I right? Yeah, 168 is what I get. 168. So 168, how many times it will go? In 18? Yeah, I have to see 18. Okay. Whether it will go in 18 table. 7%, 15. Yeah, I hope it will go. First of all, so it's like 9. Yeah, 9. Choose 18. 9 plus 9. So 78. It's not going. 6 plus 8, 14 plus 1, 15. So this table 3, 6 are 18. Please work it out, Amma. I hope you can do that. 3, 6 are 18, and you have. Yeah, please work it out how much it will be in meters second inverse. I don't know which one was left. So let me check uh, this one. So yeah, 370. Did I do a mistake? 378, 570 minus 198, 378. I did some mistake, I think. I did some mistake in calculation. Somewhere I did a mistake. Why did I get 348? Oh, I had to subtract from 570. Why I am subtracting from 540? Cha. That's a mistake I did. Somewhere wrong I was thinking. 570 minus this 192 is like 8. So here, uh, so I get 7. I get 378. 378 will work out. 5 by 18 is what we have to do. Yeah. 18 choose 36 is what you get, and then 18 months 18. So you get 105 easily.
Oh, 1
Yeah, 105 meters second inverse. This is what I did a mistake in the calculation. Okay, ma, clear? So this is how you had to calculate. So they have given 105 meters second inverse. So this is 378 kmph is what the relative speed of the bullet with which it will hit the thief's car. So that's the
Sir,
yes, ma'am.
sir, if police shoots the thief in standing rest, sir, then we can subtract from that bullet velocity only, no, sir?
Uh, yes, if the police he is not moving at all, he just fires with respect to ground only. He is just standing and firing that. Okay, and now you got just had to subtract from the bullet velocity. What you said is right. Because he is also moving, his velocity will add up to the bullet. Obvious, right? By intuition, this is
Yes, sir.
clear.
Yes.
Little bit tough. This concept is little bit tough, of course. The next one. A bus is moving with the speed of 10 meters second inverse on a straight road. A scooterish, this is also the same kind of question. A scooterish wishes to overtake the bus in 100 seconds. Okay, we'll see this. So here, you see that there is a bus which is moving at this is moving at 10 meters second inverse. Bus is moving at 10 meters second inverse. Okay, the scooterist wishes to take over this bus, and now the distance between the scooterist and the bus is 1 kilometer. So we had to convert into meters. That is about 1,000 meters. Okay, and now that what did they ask is that uh, he wants to overtake the bus in 100 seconds. If the bus is at a distance of 1 kilometer from the scooterist, what would be the speed that the scooterist will chase the bus? Okay, he has to like overtake the bus within 100 seconds. Okay, he wants to take t is equal to 100 seconds. He wants to overtake the bus within 100 seconds, which means that this is the distance and this is the time. Now what happens is, you have to understand this. This bus is moving, scooter is also moving. Okay, scooter is also moving, bus is also moving. This distance, what they want to tell, is the relative distance between the scooter and the bus. That means this distance remains constant. This distance is remaining constant. That means the bus is moving, scooter is also moving. Please understand that. Both are moving. This is moving. This is also moving. But they are moving in such a way that this distance between these two is 1 kilometer. Assume that scooter is not moving initially, then this distance keeps on increasing. Are you getting this point? Are you getting my point? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now what I get is, if the scooterist has to overtake the bus, what you need to calculate is velocity of the scooterist with respect to the bus. So how much it is? It will be 100 meters. He wants to overtake in 100 seconds. So 100 meters divided by 100 seconds. So that works out to be 10 meters second inverse. First we got this. That is the relative velocity of the scooter with respect to bus. And now what is the relative velocity of scooter with respect to bus? From the formula, what is the formula? Velocity of the scooter with respect to ground minus velocity of the bus with respect to ground. But they have given the velocity of bus with respect to ground, that is 10 meters second inverse. This is what they have given. Velocity of the bus with respect to ground is 10 meters second inverse. They have already given this. So when you substitute that, this is 10, already we got. Velocity of scooter with respect to ground is what you have to find. Minus 10 is there here. That is a bus. So here you go. The velocity of scooter with respect to ground, that should be like 20 meters second inverse in order to catch up the bus. Hope you understand.
So this part once more, please, sir.
Yeah, I will tell. First, point number 1. Did you understand the point number 1 first? What is the point number 1? Both are moving, Amma. Both are moving. Both the objects are moving. Did you get this point first? Point number 1. Please speak to me.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Both are moving. Because they are moving, always this distance between them remains constant. Okay. First part. Now the scooterist wants to overtake the bus. That means the scooter is moving with some velocity, bus is moving with some velocity initially. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
So when they are moving with some velocity, initially with some velocity, the distance is maintaining between them as 1 kilometer. They are maintaining a distance of 1 kilometer between these two. Both are moving on the road. So definitely you can think in the other way that the scooterist, he is moving, they are maintaining this 1000 kilometer, no, that is 1000 meters, no. They are maintaining the same velocity initially. That's what you can think of. Because these velocities are same, the distance is remaining constant.
Okay, sir.
This is moving at 10 meters second inverse, that is also moving at 10 meters second inverse. Both will have same velocity. Both are having same velocity, same direction. So what is happening? The distance between them is 1 kilometer, that is maintaining constant now. Okay, now you got this. Hope clear? No.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
This one is
If
called
a scooter,
Hmm.
if scooter somewhat increase in velocity, the distance will decrease. So
Yes, yes.
they are saying in questions, same distance means it should be in same velocity.
Same velocity first. This is by intuition itself you can solve.
Yes.
Now he has to overtake this bus, means this distance he has to cover with some velocity, right?
Yes, sir.
So now with what velocity he can cover? 1 kilometer. He wants to cover it in 100 seconds, right?
Yes.
So 1000 by 100, that is 10 meter second inverse. That means he has to move extra 10 meter second inverse. He's already moving with 10 meter second inverse. He has to move extra 10 meter second inverse. That is what it is coming, reflecting here.
Yes, sir.
So that's how you can solve. The other way of solving is, now whatever the factor you have calculated here, this factor is relative velocity of scooter with respect to the bus. Relative velocity of the scooter with respect to the bus. Whatever factor we have calculated is relative velocity of the scooter with respect to the bus. And a relative velocity of scooter with respect to the bus is given by the formula that velocity of scooter with respect to ground minus velocity of the bus with respect to ground. So that is from the VAB is VA minus VB, right? So that formula we have used here. And then velocity of the bus with respect to ground they have already given, that is 10 meter second inverse. And velocity of scooter with respect to bus we have calculated, that is 10. And velocity of scooter with respect to ground is what we have to calculate. That turns out to be 20. Clear, Amma?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Anyway, I'll share this what I have done, the PPT, so that you can see that. The next one. See, this is also this is a little bit this is very famous question. Two towns A and B are connected by regular bus service with a bus leaving either direction every T minutes. A man cycling with a speed 20 kmph in the direction A to B notices that a bus goes past him every 18 minutes in the direction of his motion and every 6 minutes in the opposite direction. What is the period T of the bus service and with what speed assumed to be constant do the buses ply the road? So this is one of the, I would say that this is one of the tough questions I have seen in the relative motion. Okay, I will make you understand this one. So let us plug this in. So please concentrate on this, very, very important. So here you go, that is the town A, and you can mark this as town B. A and B, both the towns are there. And now the thing is, let's not get the cyclist first. So here you go, that the bus will move from A to B, right? The bus will move from A to B like this with some velocity. Let the bus velocity, bus is having speed, speed of bus. Just a minute, Amma. Just a minute. Sauji, 1 minute. So speed of bus speed is about V meter second inverse. Bus speed is about V meter second inverse. Consider this. And now every time the time interval of T, with a very time interval, the time interval T, the bus will start T seconds. Now in T seconds, what is the distance covered? Can you tell me? Later we'll talk about cyclists. Distance covered. Okay. Distance covered in time T is given by Vt, right? This is the distance covered in the time T. Are you getting me? or you have any trouble, please let me know first. Bus is moving at v meter second inverse. Okay, what does they say that is that suppose there is one bus will start, right? Suppose it starts at let us say like 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. After 15 minutes, there is another bus like that. If you tell me that is T, that is called time interval. Got it? That is called time interval. Everyone getting this? What I am talking about? Every 15 minutes, one bus
Yes,
is
sir.
there. Okay. So after T seconds, there will be another bus. During this T seconds, what is the distance the first bus will move? V into T, right? VT meters. Okay. Now, did you get this point? VT meters, it will move. Either, but the buses are operating in either direction. This backward direction, B to A, and the buses are moving like this also, A to B. I hope I am clear. Clear with this one? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Both the buses. Now, there is a cyclist who is moving like this. Cyclist who is moving like this at a speed of 20 meters second inverse. Cyclist moving from A to B. Cyclist is moving from A to B at 20 meters second inverse. Every 18 minutes, he is seeing one bus passing by him in this way. Every 18 minutes, he sees one bus passing by him in this way. Now, how he is also moving at 20 meters second inverse. Bus is moving like this in, that is velocity of the bus with respect to ground. Okay, it is v, and velocity of the cyclist is 20. Both are moving in the same direction, right? So what is the distance covered? That is vt. That is equal to, in the forward direction, if you take v minus 20, both are moving in the same direction, so it is v minus 20. For how much time he is seeing the bus coming up? So that is 18 by 60 seconds. So 18 minutes they have given, so 18 by 60 seconds. V minus 20 meters second inverse, right? And then this is 18 by 60. This is seconds. Okay. Now let's keep the equation. This one is one equation. Now this bus is coming in the opposite direction and it passes him within 6 seconds. This bus is coming in opposite direction, it passes him within 6 seconds. So what is the time period it has covered within the time? Vt, it has covered with some time period Vt, that is passing him within 6 seconds. Since both are moving in opposite direction, we can write V plus 20, right? V plus 20 into 6 by 60. I converted 6 minutes into seconds. 6 minutes into, sorry, 6 minutes he will see every bus. So 6 minutes into seconds. When I convert this, 6 by 60, right? Clear up to this point? This is the equation 1. This is the equation 2. I just equated the distances what they have covered. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now after that, Vt is equal to Vt, we can write that is V minus 20 into 18 by 60. That should be equal to V plus 20 into 6 by 60. 6 by 60. 60, 60 out. 6 3s are 18. So let's calculate. We have 3V minus 60 is equal to V plus 20, right? So 3V minus V is 2V is equal to 80. So V is equal to 40 kmph. Sorry, 40 meters second inverse. This is the speed of the bus. And now Vt we have like V minus 20 into 18 by 60, right? From this we can calculate what is the time period. So V we have 40, we can substitute 40. So it is 40 minus 20 divided by 40 into 18 by 60. So let us keep it like 18 by 60. 60 will not cancel, keep it as it is. 40 minus 20 is 20, 20 by 40. So 20 by 40 is 1 by 2. So this, let us cancel, this is 9. So 9 by 60. So it turns out to be, what did they give actually? Am I calculating correctly? I think hours they have given. This is 20
Sir,
kmph. I think hours they have given, not meter second inverse. They have
yes.
given it kmph, 40 kmph. I am converting into kmph. Sorry for that. Not meter second inverse. I am converting into kmph. So this I am converting into hours actually. So this 9 by 60. So hours I get 9 by 60 hours is nothing but 9 minutes. So t is equal to 9 minutes. And the velocity is 40 kmph is the velocity of the bus. So I'm converting into kmph. I am telling in meter second inverse. Here. I hope I'm clear what I did. So that cyclist is not 20 meter second inverse. I think 20 kmph is going. Okay. Anyway, hope you understand that funda wise, right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is a funda of calculating this. Now let's move on. This I would rate it as one of the toughest questions. Now you see this one. This is of the also of the same kind. This one as well as this one. These are all the same kind. Okay, ma. Please look into that. Anyway, I'm sending the solutions. Please look into that. Okay, let's not look into the same kind of questions one more time. Anyway, I'm sending the solutions. This one also belt question. This boy belt. All these questions are of the same kind. So here, this is a little bit different. This question is little bit different. A car moving with a speed of 50 kmph can be stopped by applying brakes after moving at least 6 meters. Okay. If the same car is moving at a 100 kmph, the minimum stopping distance. So you can apply v square minus u square equal to 2as. From this, you will calculate the, from this you calculate the acceleration, right? So after calculating the acceleration, you got the acceleration. After calculating the acceleration, again you apply the same equation, v square minus u square equal to 2as. And now this time, at what distance it will stop? Use this acceleration, okay? Use this, actually this should be deceleration. Okay, this should be deceleration. So you got, that's why the negative sign they have put up. So negative sign when you put up, so you have that deceleration for you. So here you go that, and then you calculate, that is 24 meters is what you get. Check out the numbers. So this is how you get 24 meters you will get. Clear, Amma? This is easy only, not a very tough one. Any trouble, please let me know. Anyway, I'll send this one to you. Okay. Now, after this, we have another one. This is also of the same kind. Time and distance of the car overtaking cycle is of the. This is a different one. A body instantly is at rest moving with a uniform acceleration A. Its velocity after n seconds is v. Displacement of the body in 2 seconds they are. Initially at rest moving with a uniform acceleration E. Okay, its velocity after n seconds is v. See this displacement in the second. You can calculate the displacement in the second is, this is I will do that. So this is second, that is yes 2, right? U plus a into n minus half, you know, 2 plus a into 2 minus half. So from this you can calculate directly. So u is 0, initial velocity is 0. So a into 2 minus half, that is 3 by 2. So this is how you can calculate 3a by 2. So that is in 2 seconds if you calculate 2 seconds. He said the last 2 seconds. Last 2 seconds means what you have to do? That is nth minus n minus second. Distance traveled in the nth second minus distance traveled in the n minus second second. So this is nothing but half an square minus half. This is half actually. I think it has not come well from my side. Half an square minus half a into n minus 2 whole square. That is the distance traveled in the last 2 seconds. Okay. Okay, that is displacement. And the acceleration a is v by n. Why it is v by n? Because the n seconds display, you say a body is instead moving with a uniform acceleration. Velocity after n seconds is v. It took n seconds to reach the velocity v, right? So velocity v is given by v is equal to u plus at. From this you can get t is equal to n. When you substitute, you get v is equal to an, and n a is equal to v by n. From this you can calculate a is equal to v by n. So that you can give a substitution. T is equal to n seconds is what you can give substitution to get this. Okay, in the last displacement in last 2 seconds is what they asked. So I think that question is having some issue. Displacement of the body in last 2 seconds is what you have to give in last 2 seconds. This is a simple workout. It's not a big thing. This is a simple workout. In 2 seconds, if they ask you, this is how to calculate. In last 2 seconds is what they ask. Last 2 seconds, this is how you can calculate. 2v into n minus 1 divided by n is what you get. So here, what we have done is, here instead of a, we'll put v by n. That's it. So you get 2 into v by n into n minus 1. This is what you get. That is displacement in last 2 seconds. Hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Yeah, this is also more or less, this is stopping distance, same kind. See that. So here, this is a different one. You see, I'll put it up. A ball is dropped from a building of height 45 meters. Simultaneously, another ball is thrown up with the speed of 45 meters second inverse. Calculate the relative speed of the ball as a function of time. Now you see, oh, I have this problem. Okay, fine. According to the ball is dropped from the building. It's with the dropped means when the velocity, initial velocity is, you can see the initial velocity is 0. Ball is dropped from the building. And the second ball is thrown up with 40 meters second inverse. Velocity of the ball after time t is u1 minus gt. You know this very well because the gravity worked downwards. So this equation, and v1 is equal to minus gt. Why? u1 is 0, is just dropped. So I got v minus gt. And for the another ball which is thrown upward, u2, and then you calculate this velocity, u2 minus, so that is 40 minus gt. Relative velocity with respect to each other is v12 is v1 minus v2. So when you calculate the relative velocity, you get 40 meters second inverse. As simple as that. Clear? There is another thing is there. Another trick is there while for solving this kind of thing. So clear? Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
See, when you are considering the motion under gravity, when you are considering motion under gravity, this trick you remember. when you are considering motion under gravity, remember this, when you are considering motion under gravity, acceleration part you need not write. Acceleration part will get cancelled out. A net is 0. Net acceleration is 0. Most beautiful thing is this. When you are taking the consideration motion under gravity, net acceleration is 0. Okay, ma, how this is helpful to me? Now you see this ball is moving 40 meters second upwards. This ball is just dropped with the initial velocity u is equal to 0. See this. Hello? Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Net acceleration is 0. Now you understand that this is moving with constant velocity 40 and this is moving with no velocity 0. So what is the relative velocity? 40 minus 0. Finished.
Yes.
So that's how you can calculate. That is a technique trick to handle these problems. Okay. This is the entire workout. I have just shown the entire workout, but this trick is like this. You can follow this trick. Okay. Hope you got this trick. Now we'll move ahead. But these are little bit tough at some, so that's why this drunkard man walking, this is the NCERT problem only. So I have written the solution. This is asterisk. This is a simple solution only. What he does is 5 steps he will move forward and then 3 steps backward. That's why the displacement is 2 meters. Okay, the first thing when you see this. And now it took a time for 8 steps is 8 seconds. Each step he will take 1 second. So in total he made 8 steps. For 8 steps he will cross 2 meters. Okay. So next he has to cover within 6 meters he will fall into the pit. Okay, so he will take 5 more steps to fall into the pit. So for 6 meters journey we have calculated 6 meters journey means 6 into, you can see that 6 meters journey, 6 meter for each 2 meters he will take 8 seconds. That means 6 meters he will take how many seconds? 24, right? See, 2 meter into 3, that is 6 meter. Similarly, 8 seconds into 3, 8 is 24, right? Hope you got that. So initially he will take 24 seconds to cover 6 meters. Okay, 11 meters have to be broken into 2 pieces. Next, 5 steps he will fall into the pit initially. So 5 steps he will take 5 seconds. So 24 plus 5, that is 29 in total. Each step he will take about 1 second to cross. Okay, 1 meter he will cover in 1 second. I don't know how he does. He is doing it. Clear, Amma?
Yes, sir.
And then we have another kind of questions. Okay, we have to move on to a different kind. Now this is also same thing, same kind of question. Please see that. And this one is little bit different. You see, a figure shows xt plot of particle in one-dimensional motion. 2 different equal intervals of time are shown. Let v1, v2 are the average speed of the time interval 1 and 2 respectively. Then you see what it says is that I have written the explanation. You see this explanation wise what I am telling here. If you draw a tangent here at this point, okay, draw a tangent and you draw a tangent here. Now, when I draw these tangents, whichever the tangent is making maximum angle, okay, this angle is theta if I tell, this angle is again alpha. Which is greater? Alpha is greater than theta, right? Alpha is greater than theta. Do you get this? Only positive direction of x-axis you have to consider this way. Anti-clockwise, you have to see which tangent is having larger angle.
Alpha, sir.
Alpha. So alpha is greater than theta. So simply you can write V2 greater than V1. That's it. As simple as that. You just have to draw the tangent and see. So that explanation I have given in the next page. So the explanation is here. So all the explanation, detailed explanation I have written here. You can go through that. Okay. Okay. All the explanation is given here. You can go through that. So let's not waste time
Sir,
more. Yes, ma'am.
sir, but in answer they are giving V1 is greater than V2, sir.
Wrong, amma.
Okay, sir.
Wrong, amma.
Yes, sir.
This is the one.
So anti-clockwise with respect to
Anti-clockwise with
x-axis.
respect to x-axis, you have to see.
Yes, sir.
Magnitude of the velocities is what they asked. Okay, that is wrong. That answer is wrong. Okay, next one. We'll see this. So a particle starts from point A, moves along a straight line with the path acceleration is given by A is equal to P minus QX, where P and Q are constant. X is the distance from the point A. The particle stops at point B. Maximum velocity of the particle, same thing. Acceleration, you have to make it 0. That's the idea. It reaches maximum velocity at the point, at some point means acceleration, you make it 0. That's what we do. Acceleration, when you make it 0, what happens? It reaches the maximum velocity means acceleration, you make it 0. So that means acceleration, you make it 0. That is P minus QX. That you make it 0. X becomes P. You got P by Q, right? X is P by Q. This is what you get. And now what the particle, maximum velocity of the particle, maximum velocity, X is given. X is P by Q. And now the maximum velocity, what it will be? How do you find the maximum velocity? A acceleration function they have given. A is equal to dv by dt. That is P minus Qx. Okay. Now we have another thing, that acceleration is given by x into dv by dx. This is what you have to know. You have to know this conversion. X is equal to A is equal to x into dv by dx. How do we get that? Simple. Acceleration is equal to dv by dt. We multiply and divide with the dx. So you get dv by dx into dx by dt is what you get. Right. So dx by dt is nothing but v. Sorry, this is v into dv by dx. Sorry, acceleration is v into dv by dx, not x into dv by dx. V into dv by dx. So you can write this. So acceleration is dv by dt or v into dv by dx. So this one we will plug in and then do the integral. V into dv by dx is equal to P minus Qx. So the first part I will explain on this board. Okay. So the acceleration is P minus Qx, which is given to us. Maximum velocity means acceleration goes to 0. Okay, I just told you that. So P minus Qx will go to 0. So X happens to be P by Q. Hope you got this. X happens to be P by Q, first part. And now the acceleration is given by dv by dt. We multiply and divide with the dx, so that I get dv by dx into dx by dt. Why I have to do this? Because here acceleration is a function of displacement they have given. That's why we need this. So we get dx by dt is nothing but velocity v into dv by dx. This is how we can write. This is equal to P minus Qx. And now dx we send to the other side. So we get vdv is equal to P minus Qx dx. This is what I get. And now vdv, when I integrate on either side, I integrate this on either side, I get v square by 2 is equal to, we'll make it like 0 to v square by 2. This will make it as like 0 to x. So this becomes px minus qx square by 2 when you integrate. Now x is equal to p by q, you had to substitute, then you will get v square is equal to 2 into p into p by q, that is p square by q minus q by 2 into p square by q square. So q gets cancelled. So you get it like 2 into p square by q minus p square by 2q, right? So you get p square by 2q into 2, right? So you get 2 into p square by 2q, p square by 2q. So this 2 gets cancelled. So v square happens to be p square by q. So this is what you get. Clear, Amma? So v is equal to p by root q, something like this you can give. That's the answer. So this is how you can achieve the maximum velocity. So that's the idea how to handle this type of question. I hope I written all the things stuff over here. This is not that important. This is some curious workout. Anyway, I'll share that. Let us change the type of question. Up to now, even I am bored. So here there is one question I have seen. This I think I received from Kavishri, if I remember. So this question goes like this. So I want to change the type of questions, and we'll go ahead. So what is this question is about? Please read it. You cannot read that. Here there is one problem with this question. An ideal massless spring S is compressed 1 meter by a force of 100 newtons in equilibrium. The spring is placed at the bottom of a frictionless inclined plane at an angle 30 degrees to the horizontal. A 10 kg block of mass M is released from rest at the top of the incline, is brought to rest momentarily after compressing the spring by 2 meters. Okay, after compressing the spring by 2 meters, it's momentarily brought into rest. If g is equal to 10 meters second power minus 2, what is the speed of the mass just before it touches the spring? So here, this problem cannot be solved, first of all, because there is some mistake within the problem. The mistake is that they had to give what is the length of this inclined plane. Of course, I solved it. The length of the inclined plane is about 4 meters. They had to give it to us. Length of the inclined plane is about 4 meters. Okay, please note it. In this problem, the length of the inclined plane is about 4 meters. Without that, you cannot solve the problem. Clear? Please note it. Length of the inclined is about 4 meters. Now let's solve this question one by one. I will draw the diagram and then let you know. Can I clear this? Okay, I'll move on to the board. So let me explain this, what is happening over here. So here you go. This is like one inclined plane is there. And now it goes like this. So this is a wedge. Okay, what they have given is a wedge. And on this wedge, there is one spring over here at the bottom of the inclined plane. There is a spring over here at the bottom of the inclined plane. There is a spring over here. And now there is a block of 10 kg mass. So I was actually, literally speaking, I was looking for the proper explanation of this one. No one has explained with, they have just explained something they have done. I don't really get what they have really done. I, really speaking, truly, I verified on the net. Without this, how would they solved? It's not possible. They have done something, some blunders in between, and they're claiming that they have given the answer. It's not correct what they have written on the net or something. I'll give you the right answer. So here you go that this inclined plane length they have to give. Without that, you cannot solve the problem actually, literally speaking. This is about 4 meters they have to give. And now this angle is about 30 degrees, right? And now since it is 30, what is this height you can measure, right? So let us say this height is h. You know what is sine 30. First of all, sine 30 is opposite side divided by hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse, okay? So that is h by 4. H by 4, right? Sine 30 is half. Half is equal to h by 4. So h value is 2 meters. So first of all, let's find out this h is 2 meters. First part is done. And now the second part is that spring can be compressed to a 1 meter distance. X is equal to 1 meter is what they have given. It can be compressed. And with a force of 100 Newton force, if you apply, you can compress the spring, which means that indirectly they have given the force constant. Force constant K is equal to F by K, F by X. Okay. So F by X, that is 100 by 1 Newton meter inverse. Okay. The force constant K you have calculated, so that we have calculated that is 100 Newton meter inverse. This is the force constant. Clear? So once you calculate the force constant, now we have to see the energy conservation. Here the surface they have given it as a smooth surface. Smooth. So here we consider the smooth surface. So what is the energy? It is left from rest. Please understand, it is left from rest. Because it is left from rest, the total energy in the initial is equal to total energy in the final condition. This is what we need. Clear, Amma? Total energy initial is equal to total energy final. Right? Total energy initial is equal to total energy final. This we know very well. Now, what is the total energy initial? It is the sum of the potential energy plus kinetic energy. That is equal to sum of the potential energy plus kinetic energy. Did you get this first?
Yes, sir.
Right. And now what is the initial kinetic energy? Because it is starting from rest, initial kinetic energy is 0. So initial potential energy you can calculate. This height, always for the potential energy you have got to calculate the vertical height. Vertical height is 2 meters. 2 meters is the vertical height. So initial potential energy you will get it as mgh, that is 10 into g, that is 10 into 2. That is the initial potential energy. Now final potential energy and final kinetic energy are the most important things. See, this block when it slides and about this will hit this will hit the spring and it will compress the spring further. Okay, right? Before hitting, let us say it is having a velocity of v. It is just compressing, so it is having certain velocity v while compressing it. So it will have a kinetic energy of half mv square. Let us write half mv square. That is the kinetic energy which will have. And the potential energy at the final situation. So when it compresses the spring by 2 meters here, it compresses the spring by 2 meters. So when I put it here, this itself forms a triangle. Let us say this is h dash. And now h dash you can calculate. Sine 30 is equal to h dash by 2. Sine 30 is half. So h dash happens to be 1 meter. So I got the potential energy, final potential energy is about mgh, that is 10 into 10 into 1 meter, plus the potential energy of the spring will also come into the picture. The potential energy of the spring is half kx square. So x is 2 meters, that is the potential energy of the spring. Okay, now we have this equation, half mv square. We'll write it here. If I plug in the terms, the problem here is this problem is having some certain issue. But when you take it like a mod of differences, then you will get this idea. Then this is about 200 minus 100 minus half kx square. You plug in half k value is 100 Newton meter inverse into x square. X square is 2 whole square. So this 2 and this one will get cancelled. So you get 200 here. This 200 and this 200 will cancel. And you get ultimately half mv square. Half into m is 10 into v square. That happens to be like, you get a negative term. That's why I'm taking the modulus of the thing finally. So you will get about 100 here. So here this one gets cancelled 10 times. So v square happens to be 20. So v is equal to square root of 20 meter second inverse. Unless they give the slope, it is very difficult to calculate. You can, I don't think you can calculate. They are giving some explanations. I am not convinced with the explanation. You have to give this, what is the length of this one. So this is how we can calculate. This is a possible explanation what I see, but I didn't find anywhere any possible explanation. You have to consider the modulus on the other way. Then only you can get to know how to handle this. Otherwise, it's not possible. I don't think it is possible. Hope it is clear.
Sir, will you explain
Yes,
it again?
Sorry, ma?
Will you explain it again, sir?
Yes, please understand this. So initially what it is having the potential energy, please talk to me, Amma, wherever you don't understand. Initially it is having potential energy only, right? Did you understand this height, how I calculated?
Yes, sir.
That is fine. And now the potential energy is 2 into 10 into 10, right? mgh. That is the initial potential energy. Initial kinetic energy, it doesn't have any kind of kinetic energy, zero, fine, because it is starting from rest. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Now when it has reached this spring and it is hitting the spring and compressing the spring by 2 meters. Okay.
Because of compression, it decreases, sir.
Sorry, because of compression,
the height decreases.
The length of the spring has decreased. Length of the spring has decreased. Okay, right? And now while compressing that, it is hitting with a velocity v. While compressing it, it is hitting with the velocity v.
Yes, sir.
It is hitting with the velocity v. And now the other way what we can take is this one, maybe what I understand is like the other way is we can think in this way. But I don't think that is correct. But one of the other possible explanations we can give is that okay, you will get the answer, the same answer, but the other possible explanation I'm just trying to give. The other possible explanation what I can give is that whatever the potential energy, okay, but this I cannot take it like kinetic energy plus the kinetic energy, half mv square. Both have resulted, so I'll write this statement. The initial potential energy and the kinetic energy, so I'll write this statement separately. You can give this statement. The initial potential energy and the kinetic energy with which the spring is being compressed has resulted in the final potential energy of the system. So this is how maybe this one could be the possible explanation, so we'll get the values correctly. So please note this statement. Okay, I'll give this maybe working, right? Correct values, like we can get the idea. So only the change in the signs, that's it. That's what we get from here. Clear? No? Now return this statement.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we'll see this. So it works out to be like, so we have this one like, so we have this, and here you go. This is the platform. This is the 90-degree wedge is what you have. Now I told you that this platform, this length is 2 meters. Already we have calculated, right? This is a 10 kg block. So this one can give a possible explanation correctly. One more time. Okay. And now let me draw here this one. This 10 kg block has hit this already. Okay. 10 kg block has hit this and then brought a compression, about 2 meter compression. Okay, ma. And now this length is about 4 meters. 4 meters, and this angle is about 30 degrees. Okay. And now what I said is, as per the statement, the initial potential energy and the speed with which it has hit the spring has brought in the final potential energy of the system. Now what is the initial potential energy? 10 into 2 into mgh, right? That is the initial potential energy. Is this okay? The first part.
Yes, sir.
Plus kinetic energy of the system. Half, before hitting this, the kinetic energy is half into 10 into v square. We don't know what is that velocity with which it has hit. That only we have to find. That is the total energy with which it has hit the spring system. Okay. Total energy to compress the spring. This you can write, total energy to compress the spring. To compress the spring. So this we can, this is the best mode I hope to counter this problem. Okay. Total energy to compress the spring is this much. There's the total energy. And now which has resulted, this energy, whatever you have done, given, this energy is stored as potential energy in the spring and the mass. And now what is the height at which this mass is resting on this slope is what we have to find. At what height this mass is resting on this slope. So let us say this is height of h dash. Okay. And now to find the height h dash, what I have to do? So find sine 30 once again. Sine 30 degrees, that is like h dash by 2 we can do sine 30. So you can find h dash is equal to 2 times sine 30. Sine 30 is half, so that is 1 meter. I hope this part is clear. 1 meter. H dash is about 1 meter. We got 1 meter, right?
Yes, sir.
Now we can calculate. So this one is the potential energy of the mass, that is 10 into 1 meter, plus the potential energy of the spring. Potential energy of the spring is half kx square. So half into k is 100 into x square is 2 whole square. So just calculate. So this is what, 200 plus 100. So you have 100 plus 200. So this side you have 200 once again. 200 plus half into 10 into v square. This is what you have. And 200 on either side you can give it out. So you have v square happens to be 2 into 100 divided by 10. So v square is 20. So v is equal to square root of 20 meter second inverse. This is how this could be the possible explanation, what I feel. So that's the answer. Okay, ma, we'll stop here, and then tomorrow we'll meet, and then we'll do our normal course, and then maybe the phase 2 discussion we will continue with some more questions. Okay, some more questions I will deal in the phase 2, phase 3, like that. I don't know how many phases we have to discuss. It may take some time because that many questions are there to deal. We'll deal slowly, one by one. I hope I am clear with this, and I will send the PPT of what I have prepared. And the phase 2 discussion, whatever the questions which are left in this one, I will discuss in the phase 2, and the phase 3 will be the next questions whatever I have received. Okay, ma. Thank you all. See you. Bye.